Hello, everybody. Welcome to Anime Gaiden. Today, we are trying something a little bit different. We are doing Steven Gaiden. So not only the anime side story, but my side story. Sahil's going to have some of his too. Today, we have Christina as a guest. She's a terrible human being. You shouldn't listen to anything she says. She doesn't know what she's talking about.
The worst.
She's also my wife. We're gonna try something here, where Sahil and I still do our regular Anime Gaiden episodes, but then have our own little side stories at the same time. Sahil will do some of his, I will do some of mine. Christina will probably be featured in a fair few of mine because, believe it or not, very hard to watch a lot of anime without your wife's permission.
You don't ask permission.
No, but you complain. So, I figure the easy way to do it and watch all the anime I want to watch, get through all the things I want to get through on a regular basis. Let's just include her. Let's see what happens here. So, Christina, can you give your just quick, general synopsis on your view and experience with anime, real quick?
My anime experience is probably as long as I've known you.
I'm a good influence.
I didn't really watch a lot of anime until I started dating you, and then it just kind of grew from there. You got me started to start watching anime with Naruto.
We are fighting, drinking about that's not kidding.
So that's kind of like what jumped me in. When I was younger, I watched anime, what I really consider as anime, like Sailor Moon and stuff like that. I wasn't allowed to watch Dragon Ball, so I as a kid, so I didn't watch that growing up. But and then as I was getting older, realizing things that I didn't think were anime were actually anime. But yeah, so you got me started on anime proper through Naruto, and then I've just been in the room as you've been watching more anime.
Yeah, she's watched a lot of anime, like secondhand anime, a lot. I mean, like a lot.
A lot
of secondhand anime. I honestly couldn't even tell you most of the names of most animes I watched over the years, to be honest. I should have really kept up with my anime list or something, but I did not.
The laundry list of all.
Some of them just merged together. There's so many that are so similar.
Yeah.
So today we are going to talk about Tokyo Ghoul. Now, Tokyo Ghoul has an interesting history with us, simply because the first time I watched it, we were living in Toronto. It was our first year living together, and I had a lot of trouble sleeping at the time, so I would sit there and watch anime on my phone at night. I was watching Tokyo Ghoul. I remember specifically Christina waking up partway through the, what the hell are you watching? And it was as Kaneki was getting tortured. You're screaming.
And I just look over and I just see this questionable scene on his phone. I'm like, I don't even want to know. So I just turn around and go back to bed.
Anyway, he loved it. She never really watched it. I got her to watch one episode once, and just that first episode was a bit too slow for her. It didn't really hook. But so for her first shy-in, unlike with Sahil and I, where we're going through the current existing anime, right now we're just gonna, I'm gonna cherry pick a season here and there, a different show for her to watch. Coda apparently loves ocean bombs. Sitting over there trying to drink one.
Yeah, and we're
just going through so much shit.
Snacks.
Wonderful. Speaking of snacks, we do have a snack of the week. So, I mean, we've been through one of these before.
Is it the same flavor?
Sahil, you're a lucky SOB, buddy. that I'm going through this today without you.
I'm assuming you didn't go well the last time?
Well, we only had one, and there's 3 flavors, and it wasn't great. I don't remember what it's called. It's a
mixed pastry.
Fuchi is the brand. It's some sort of pastry.
Okay. Well,
it's like a cereal bar.
Yeah, it looks like a Rice Krispie. But it's not a Rice Krispie.
Dry.
The dogs want in.
Shitty.
Go bite the bite.
Rice Krispie. Doesn't that look fucking appetizing?
It looks like just like a dry Rice Krispie.
Oh, Carter, get out of here, Wolf.
He's like, I will try it.
Now I want it, just because you want it.
Oh, wait. No. Give me a more fair piece.
I've been through this once. No, honestly, it's not as bad as the other one. This one's egg flavor. Sorry, I forgot to say it.
Tells me after the fact.
It's just like, it's actually way more flavorful than last one. The flavor's actually not terrible. Ooh, it gives my tongue like a yolky feel. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's the taste that I get is the egg yolk.
Yeah, but it films your tongue weirdly. Anyway,
it's like
honestly, it's not nearly as bad. The other one was the most mid thing I've ever had in my life, and the texture is still like that of a bloated Rice Krispie that was left out in the sun to dry.
Yeah, it's definitely more puffed up than
but
Rice Krispie.
I could eat that one. I said could.
Okay, yeah.
I don't want to, and I love but I could.
Yeah.
And that's a step up from the last one. The last one I was like,
It doesn't have that like overly eggy taste. So it's like
yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. I'll give it like a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
Because like the other one, I'm pretty sure I rated a solid 5, and I've got to give that one something better than the other one. So I'll say a 6, but realistically, it's a 5. Okay, so going into it with Tokyo Ghoul, I've actually never read the manga, and I know that's basically blasphemous with Tokyo Ghoul because I know I've heard it a million times. The manga is so much better than the anime. Season 1 of the anime, great. Then it just goes downhill, it goes crazy, yada yada yada. I know. Okay, I read lots of manga. Honestly, I don't read as much manga as I should. I read a lot of philosophy books. What can I say? I'm a nerd. Anyway, I go through my fair bit of manga. It's just never hit for me. But I have watched all of the show in its entirety, including all the and everything like that. I know it's all like hodgepodge mixed up. They tried to fix things. It kind of went chaotic. But we're only here to talk about season 1 today, so none of that matters. Season 1 is something I've always loved. I really love the duality it creates and the way it makes you question society. I know that's what I've tried to sell Christina on 400 times, and she's never bitten. But today or this week, she got forced to, so it works out. So Christina, how familiar were you with Tokyo Ghoul before watching it?
Like I'd heard of it and I'd seen clips from when you watched it, but I didn't really know too much of the story or the characters or how it was gonna like kind of play out.
So yeah, that's fair. Did like I guess we probably had like an idea of like again when I'm talking about like the philosophical discussions that come up around Tokyo Ghoul and the topics it kind of faces.
Yeah.
So obviously I hyped it up for you.
Yeah.
Like did me hyping it up impact your expectation or like going into it?
I think it's just going back and watching anime with a different lens. Like when we first got together, I was always under the impression that anime was like children's stuff, but then
Well, once out.
But then when you started introducing more anime to me, like after like you got me to watch Naruto, I was realizing that it's not just for kids. Like there's adult themes to it, and I feel like Tokyo Ghoul is one of those. Is definitely very like,
It just takes to the next song.
definitely very adult themes. And it's kind of like giving it more than one episode to judge it. Like, you have to like get into it. You have to watch it.
Yeah, so you like it was a slow burn, right?
It was definitely slow. And you know, some parts were a bit more dry than others, but everything is important to like lead you up until to the end.
Yeah, it's very cohesive. Like
Yeah.
it flows well as much as it might be slow at times.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like, I guess I always have like a 5-episode rule with anime. I know some people say like a 2 or 3 episode.
Yeah.
For me, 5 for anime because it's like it's 20-minute episodes. Give it 5. It might take some time.
I think that's the thing too. Going from normalcy to watching anime, it's like giving it a good couple episodes to get into it.
And then when you're talking about like it being cohesive, like obviously we have like huge elements of horror, action, drama. How would you say the show did for balancing those things?
I would say that like it is fairly balanced. I would say that like, it didn't really pick up like the horror aspect of it until when you get into towards the end with like the torture scene.
Yeah, Jason torturing Kaneki.
Yeah, and it was like that's when it really picked up, and it was like that was next level because there wasn't really you had like the ghoul attacks and that here and there with like I would classify that as minor gore, but then to go into like the torture scene and actually like see full blown like what's actually happening. Because there was at one point we were watching, you're like, I don't know if they cut part of it and censored it when they re-released it onto the platform we were watching on. But even just what we did see.
No, they didn't. I thought they did because there was a specific
we were a couple scenes early.
Yeah, there was a specific part that I thought happened.
The centipede.
Yeah, which is crazy because like I think one of the craziest things they did with the centipede was like not just the idea of the centipede going in and wiggling around in his ear, and it's fucked up because like not only is that obviously torturous, it's eating the brain, it's doing all these things, it's breaking the eardrum, doing all these crazy, ridiculously inhumane, painful things, but he's healing.
Yeah.
The whole time. And I think it's easy to forget that for that part.
Well, I didn't clue in that he had regenerative powers until like
you talk the fingers and toes.
Yeah, because I was like, okay, so he just is constantly. But I'm like, wait, oh, so he must be able to regrow fingers and toes because I was very confused by that. I'm like, you only have so many. Well, we're still doing this.
Or did he not go on that cards? Bro.
He wants to play Yu-Gi-Oh.
I don't blame him. He lose.
Coda would lose at Yu-Gi-Oh.
Anyway. So he really wants to be on camera, guys. Yeah, I know.
Camera loves him.
I know, bro. You want the camera and the snacks. You are the snack on the camera. Anyway.
Muffin.
No, I think it's, but even after they tell you that, like, it's so easy to forget for a second that, like, oh yeah, he regenerates. And because of that, like, he goes through the whole thing with Rize in his head and all this stuff. And then bang, out of nowhere, you just see him like screwing up Jason, beating him up, and then just pulls it out of his ear. And you're like, oh shit, that was still in there.
Yeah, you forget
The whole time, oh, like, it's been in there for who knows how long. What the fuck?
How did he manage to get it to come back out?
I think he just pulled it out.
You can't reach that far
It's
into.
pretty long. It was like this long. I'm sure part of it was still just chilling there.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, that's my point.
It's like crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of gross.
Was there
crawling around?
Like, was there a particular episode that for you like defined it or like made it be like, oh wow, this is a different kind of anime?
Well, I think that torture scene definitely is
like the last,
like because well, it's not only was like one of the last 2 episodes that we watched, but it's like it's such. For me, it kind of comes out of nowhere because like we said, it's the most graphic thing in the season so far. So it really does stand out for you. But I really like the conversations that they're having throughout the show.
like what?
Well, the morality of it, right? Like, is one more in the right than the other? But then you have like good humans and bad humans, and you have good ghouls and bad ghouls. Like, so the parallels there. And like the conversation throughout, because at the first, like, you're painted as like the ghouls are the bad ones, right? And then you have the ghoul, like, then you're kind of like integrating, you're coming it from the ghoul's perspective, so you get to learn a bit more that they're not all bad.
And you're like, is the CCG bad? I don't know. Like the investigators, are they bad? And it's like, okay, but it's really funny because like they do such a good job of having very real characters and a very real image of just general humanity on both sides, and they use extremes to do it, right? Like on the sides of the ghouls, they have people like Toka who are sitting there forcing themselves poison just so her friend can think the food is good, and right, and saying like go to school and do these things. And then you obviously have Shu, I think his name's Shu, the gourmet guy, and Jason, who and Rize herself, who Koda, it's not banjo time, buddy. Why are there so many?
They want rainbow connections.
But anyway, I think it's really cool how well they do that. You have those guys who are like obviously the big bad as well, and then on the human side, I mean, Amon and Mato are like perfect. They are the perfect duality. You have Mato who like is just gotta kill all these guys. They're disgusting bugs. I'm gonna kill them, destroy them, everything. And then you have Amon, who it's like he's doing it, but it's like very much like a sense of justice and pride and all these things. But then as Mato dies, you're like, oh shit, he has a family. Oh shit, clearly something happened to make him this way. Some ghoul did something at some point. I'm obviously not going to spoil anything to make Mato be the way he is towards ghouls. And then you see Amon start like going to that other side because of how Mato like handles him. And even at first he thought he was crazy and all these, like, it's very good. Or I forget his name too. The first ghoul you run into who beats the hell out of Kaneki and then he puts a hole in his stomach. He same thing where it's like, oh, he's just gonna eat people all the time, and you're like, oh no, he actually lives. He's got this girlfriend. He's got this. Yeah,
I like the contrast of like him of a ghoul having a human girlfriend and like how they were trying to make it work to show that they can coexist together. But then like having to keep it like hush hush because if anybody found out, then both sides would have like to split them up because it's not allowed.
Well, they did. It's great because like they did such a good job with Kaneki in showing that duality of having him be like this quiet young guy who really doesn't like ghoul, like who hates ghouls, and then forcing him to become a ghoul. But obviously in his heart, he's still a human. However, now he has to eat like a ghoul, which is basically a huge thing, right? So going through all those things, like they could have just left it at that, but they didn't. And they did such a good job of making sure to show the duality that transforms Kaneki the way he is. Because like the whole first season is kind of just Kaneki like coming to terms with his current situation. And then also finding like a resolute path, right? Like, this is what I need to do. I need to be the bridge between these two peoples. because I know and I'm the only one who could do it. And like they did such a good job of making that make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And like, and oh, this A equals B, C. It's nothing else does make sense. And then they throw you with the whammy at the end of him getting abducted and getting dealt with in like the worst possible way.
Yeah. I kind of like though that they kept that until the end, where he felt like at the end that he needed to be an advocate for both sides. Whereas like if they had done that earlier, I feel like it wouldn't have had as much of an impact, because you needed that first full season to kind of establish both sides and the perspective from both sides. So him being half human, half ghoul really does help to bridge the two.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, because that was done so well, they could have left it there and they didn't. And that's what I think is so amazing about it.
They'll keep expanding on it.
Now, before we get to this next part, let's talk 2 frames per second. What was your 2 frames per second for Tokyo Ghoul?
There was like really early on, there was like a fight sequence, and I was like, I don't know which way the limbs are going.
Was it when he's getting the hole in the stomach and everything was...
Yeah, it was like these like super speeded.
Was it that part?
I think so. It was in the one of the first battles.
Okay.
I'd have to rewatch it, but I did. I wrote the episode down, but it happened so quick. But I was like, I think that was a goof, so I have to like slow it down to like pick out the exact moment.
For me, it's just any of like the close up, like Jason looks like this.
Oh, the crazy eyes.
Yeah, but they've seen the first.
So like one's like what?
I think their face is so wide and weird. It's not even necessarily the animation. It's just like the art style for his face just bothers me. It's weird. Okay. So did you sympathize with ghouls or humans?
I mean, I feel like probably more on the side of the ghouls, because like, they just have like, it's hard to say like the bad ones like are the few, but spoil it for the many.
So let me ask you this. Do you think the ghouls have a right to live? Remembering that the only way for them to live is to eat human flesh.
Well, I feel like well, again, it's an ethical discussion, but I feel like there's ways in which, it could be more conversation. Like, how can does it have to be specifically human flesh?
Yes.
It does. Well, I feel like they were on something with like the harvesting of the.
Okay, but let's say this. Okay, let's say you don't have enough people committing suicide, and because of that, you don't have enough food, so they have to go grave robbing. Okay.
I mean, I feel like it's similar to like organ harvesting.
Is it? Because
I mean, those people have volunteered.
Yeah,
to
so
the organs.
I guess the most questionable way to challenge that would be if someone says yes, because obviously the show makes you want to side with the ghouls and be like, yeah, it's okay. But like to make it as real as possible, you have to be like, okay, let's assume graves for a second, because obviously we're just going to assume that murder is a no-no. So like I'm murdering people and eating them. Yeah, no one's probably going to be cool with that. If you are, get help. Or come to my barbecue and bring something. Okay. Try a little toe meat. Anyway. But left like, your loved one gets dug up and eaten. You know what I mean?
Right. I feel like there has to be like a, in a perfect world, there'd be a consent thing.
Not a perfect world. We're not.
Yeah, so that's where the gray line is, right?
Like, you have someone in front of you. Let's say you have the little girl in front of you. She survives or dies, but for her to survive, she has to unbury and eat your loved one's dead body.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right?
It's tricky.
Yeah, it's easy to say when you're thinking about a show. Be like, yeah, like.
But like, if you try to apply it into real.
Yeah.
Into a real sense.
Because, like, obviously in the world of Tokyo Ghoul, they have it where it's like there's these constant battles. Ghouls are constantly getting persecuted. You take away that persecution, all of a sudden population goes up. Population goes up. Do you really think suicide victims alone are going to help? Or, like, are going to cut it? I don't think so. Do you think organ donors alone are going to cut it? Maybe over a long-term thing, you might get, like, societal acceptance of ghouls in a sense where it's like, bodies are just, that's what you do. When someone dies, like, they don't get buried, they don't get cremated, they just get turned into ghoul mush.
Right. Snacks.
And that would, honestly, I'd be okay with it. I don't care.
Ghoul snacks.
Personally. But I have weird conceptions about that thing, those kinds of things. Okay, so we do a power scale. So it's basically 1 to over 9,000. Over 9,000 is like the max. So, season 1 alone, where would you rate Tokyo Ghoul?
In, like, Would define power, like what do you mean in terms of
Power scale, like 1 to 10 rating.
Oh, like how good it is?
Yes, over 9,000 is the
Um,
highest.
well, like out of
Yeah, I know you've never watched Dragon Ball Z. I get.
I know.
Anyway,
I don't.
continue.
I don't know this stuff. I would say first season probably like a 6.5.
I hate you. A 6.5 or a 6,500?
Oh, 1,000, I guess.
Like 6,500?
Sure. It's completely different scaling than what I'm used to doing on my channel.
Yeah, I don't care about your channel.
Thanks. Thanks.
But okay, I'm gonna give it like an 8,000. I honestly think it's really good. I mentioned that I read a lot of philosophy books. Just the duality of the way it makes you ask certain questions about yourself, the way it draws parallels to like real world issues of prejudice. It explores trauma, hunger, isolation, intimidation. Um, it's really wild, and it does it very well. And it's crazy because like I know nowadays, we've got The Boys. We went through the Game of Thrones stuff. We have all these things that are Invincible that bring up like this gory, mushy, gritty crap or gross things even. Tokyo Ghoul did it way before, man. Like it was doing it, and it's not doing it for wow factor, which is what I really like. Like it makes sense. Um, what do you think about the torture scene? Like they didn't go super graphic with it. A lot of things
Yeah,
that didn't show him getting his fingers cut off.
it wasn't an
You heard it. Like they didn't do things just to shock you. There was a purpose. If anything, they backed away from shocking you on a lot of things. So I just think that the writing was phenomenal. I think everything was great. Obviously, like there's a couple animation eeks here and there, but for the most part, it's great. I really don't like the I'm blanking on what it's called. The power that they have. The Quinque is the sword. What is the ghoul's power called?
Oh, you're asking the wrong person. It was similar to like the Nine Tails thingy.
No. Anyway, I think those could have been a lot cooler. I just think when anything does like the shapes in some of them were really cool, but a lot of them were just kind of like these like energy forms
I feel like that.
with like very little textures and details. And I think I always just find that kind of lazy when people do that.
Well, I feel like it wasn't really explained either, unless I missed it.
No, it really wasn't.
Because it was
It's just like a feature of being a ghoul. Yeah, that's always something that I've always found like
they thought it was
lazy, and maybe fix that in the manga. If it doesn't, you've read the manga, please let us know. But yeah, it doesn't. It just doesn't really go into that very well. But past that, I really like it. Now it's up to you. Do we continue with season 2?
We said there's
4 seasons.
4 seasons, and it takes a turn. So I'm kind of curious to keep watching to see like what the turn's going to be.
That's it. You heard it here, folks. Season 2 coming to you. Have a great week, guys.